dice, each face represents something different. So let's pretend that these aren't there. So like they roll a 1, maybe a 1 equals 1,000 points. Okay? So group 1, I ask, to roll the dice and ask them a question. And I pick a student from the group, Billy, or, what's your name? Even though, whatever. And Billy rolls a 1, he gets 1,000 points. Now where it gets fun is, like, you can do whatever you want for the remaining numbers. So like 2, maybe 2 is like a recycle sign, which means that like you change the amount of points your group has with the following group next to you. Maybe 3 is you have to say I love you to somebody in the following group. Or a 4 is a bomb, you lose all your points. So the goal is to get the most points and your team will win. But also you can have the whole group recite the answer, or individually have a certain student in the class. And we use that foam dice. The kids love to throw that dice around. So did I explain that clearly?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, so you see there are a lot of ways to adapt the concept. Okay, now moving on. So this is apparently it involves a lot of listening, right? So you have to think what skills are involved in each activity you design. So here's teaching tip number 2. There are 3 M's for your first lesson. 1, break the ice, like I just did. And all children love to know more about their teachers. And I think this is one of the beauty of being a teacher. You can invent yourself. You can make up a lot of stories about yourself, right? And the most important thing is you try to get the message across and brings out more vocabulary through the introduction of yourself. And 2, analyze language levels like we just did. You ask children to generate vocabularies they know already. And 3, analyze students' needs. Maybe you would observe some students need some skills of collaboration. Maybe you were found out that this particular class has problems of responding to you properly, or classroom management problems. So these are the things you need to start doing on the first few sessions of your class. So before you start an activity, try to make sure that you understand the teaching goal of each activities, and always demonstrate it before you say go. Now the demonstration can come in various ways. It can be a teacher-centered demonstration. I say, and then you do blah, blah, blah. Or you can have a student, maybe a student with better language proficiency, to come to the board and demonstrate in front of the class, or a pair work report before you proceed to any activities. And it's always nice to have a little bit time pressure, because as a teacher, we always have a schedule to meet. And also it is kind of spice up the class atmosphere a little bit. And remember to bring in some fun element when you're doing the activities with your class. Okay, so now since you already have several years of teaching experience, so I think you should be able to give me a lot of answers in this part of presentation. In an EFL classroom, what you might see, hear, and work with. And you have to think that you are going to work in a public school system now. So you might slightly different from Bushiban. Now I'm going to give you these post-its, and you're going to work in a group.
Oh.
Yeah. you're going to need more.
Close to the door.
Okay. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes. So you're going to at least work out at least one answer for each categories. And when the bell rings, you're going to put your hands on your head and say Yahoo. I know it sounds silly, but being silly is part of the job description. So, okay? What do you do when you hear the bell rings?
Yahoo!
That's right. Okay, thank you for your cooperation. Okay, now I'm going to set a time. Please don't start just yet. 2 minutes. Ready?
Line. Lines. Here, right, one's chanting chants in the background.
So every one of you has to come up at least one answers for each category. Yeah. But of course you can share your other answers.
Reality.
Possibly, I would.
Phonetic.
Special needs kids.
Oh, I thought maybe we have to.
They supposed to get
I put a warm bump for things here.
They go cook, isn't it?
I went first last
Yes, that's what
Someone else to be here.
It has to be seen.
Is that primer?
Maybe kids
Yeah.
are paying attention.
Yahoo!
Oh!
Yahoo!
Good for you!
Yahoo!
You only got one word. Okay, now you can post your answers on the poster, please. Can you do that now?
I do.
Are we gonna use a marker?
No, just post it on the. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Wrote it on.
Oh, so yeah, that reminds me of something. So you didn't write it on the.
We did, but we wrote everyone all of them
Oh.
on.
It's okay, I guess.
Good job, Morris. Good job.
Candy bag.
Okay.
We didn't get to the last one.
So we can learn something from this as well, because my original idea is for you to write one answer per piece of paper, so you will look better with that. Okay, but so that's kind of remind us what we need to get our instruction clearer before we proceed to the activity. Okay, so what you might see, in the EFL classroom, of course, big class size. In Hsinchu City, there are about 28 to 30 kids per class. So before you go to your first session, you might want to work out how many groups you need, things like that. And there will be a wide range of levels within a class due to the fact that a lot of people start information in a quite young age. And there are also a lot of people that they don't start their English class until elementary school. So you can see there are quite a lot of different levels in one class. And you will also be teaching multiple classes. And you also see another co-teaching teachers work in the same room with you. And if you don't have your own classroom, then you will probably face a lot of different ways of sitting arrangements. And very lucky for you, this city is very rich, richer than most of the other places in Taiwan. So I believe that most of you will get a classroom equipped with pretty high-tech teaching aids. And what you might hear, students speak different language, of course, and they might be a little bit passive about your instruction, especially in this public schools context. And why would that be? Why do you think students might be a bit passive?
Did you not understand?
They don't understand you because for me, I can communicate things in Mandarin with them, but for you, you are required to speak English, at least 98% at least, yeah. So they might have problems of communication, and what are you going to do with it? And of course, you're going to come across with a lot of disruptive active behavior, unproductive noises. And what do you need to work with? You need to work with the textbook that other teacher have already chose. And the technology. It would be nice of you to learn and familiar with the technology in your classroom. It would be better if you develop your teaching material from the technology you got. And I think most of the time technology does boost the motivation. It does motivate children a lot. But let's not forget that technology is just a carrier. What matters is still teaching, how we teach. And also you need to work with your students. And there must, as a teacher, you must be very familiar with all kinds of hiccups. Yeah, so when that happens, pretend it's on the lesson plan.
Fake it till you make it.
Sorry?
Fake it till
Yes.
you make it.
That's right. Yeah. And also, you're going to work with your co-teaching teachers and, yeah, try to build rapport with him or her because him or her will probably the best local guide for you. And you're going to receive some requirements from administration. So it's very important to know that you're not just responding to your students, you're responding to the whole teaching staff. And you're bound to have some level of cultural shock. But I think most of you have experienced that already, right? So just bear in mind that communication is the best way to resolve things. And if that doesn't work, it's an experience. Okay, so are there anything you'd like to add? Anything I haven't covered? Anything? No?
Maybe if you have us back in a few months' time, we can have.
I'm sorry.
I'd say maybe if you have us back in a few months' time, maybe we can add there.
Yeah. There will
Have the real experience.
Yes, yes. Yeah. You will have a different perspective.
Sure.
That's right. Okay, so now we're moving on to lesson planning. A child needs a change of pace. So it's very important for you to understand that you cannot have 40 minutes full of activities. Yeah, you gotta plan some start of activities as well as something that can calm them down, something that can help them to bounce back to their normal self. And what are the skills that you are trying to teach in your lesson? And try to scaffold everything. Like I say, you want to have experience a wide range of levels within a class. Still, that's more of a reason that we need to scaffold everything, because only in this way you can kind of take care of each level of your students. Now, can you read out the paragraph for me, please?
Best methods for second language acquisition are therefore those that supply comprehensible, simple, low exercise situations containing messages that students really want to hear.
Yeah, so the key phrase is comprehensible input and low anxiety situations. Because if you don't adapt your language levels, then students might get lost quite easily and very quickly. So it would be a torture for them to come to your class, and of course we don't want that to happen. So just bear this in mind. And here's comes teaching tip number 3. Now, of course, we're teaching beginners. Now, I'm going to ask you to read silently and tell me what could be the problems if we have our beginners to do this.
Who wants to answer that?
Yeah. What would be the problem if we ask our students to list all the English words they know and their working groups? What would be the problem?
The smart kid never is gonna write all the
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Or the lower level students would be embarrassed.
Or what?
Maybe the lower level
Embarrassed.
students would be embarrassed that they don't know as much as.
Yeah.
Few little.
Can you predict something they're gonna say if you give them this instruction? Hmm?
That's happened to me before.
Oh, really? In Bushiban as
No,
well?
actually, Bushiban had a contract with an elementary school in Juba,
Oh,
and
okay.
we were doing an activity like that. I think it was like a short U phonics, and had to kind of
Oh,
run
no.
grade 3, and I was just like, oh my god.
Oh, great thing, yeah. Okay. What else?
3.
I was thinking about productive noise. If I won't be focused or too shy to talk, we'll start talking with the next one.
Yeah. Lose interest.
Lose interest.
Mhm.
And not overstimulating,
Yeah,
Sometimes you get your hyperactive kids that's not really into, and they start making
Yeah,
productive
yeah,
noise.
yeah, that's right. So, of course, this is a doable activity. However, as a teacher, you must do a lot of prediction. You are going to predict possible problems of your lesson plan. In my scenario, I come across with children tell me, but I don't know what to write. What do you want me to write? I don't know what to write. So what would you do to help them to know? Help them to know what to write.
Pick a subject like food or animals.
Yes.
Or
yeah,
and
narrow it
because
down
of the
the topic.
outbreak, say this group, you write me words with A. Like that. Well, but that can also bring swear words about, right?
Yeah, but it's not common. I mean, it's like it's not gonna know, but
Yeah.
this kid was just.
So you stay away from the F.
Yeah, I like your idea. Try to narrow down the topic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then maybe you try to give them some examples before you proceed the activities. Yeah. So predicting possible problems is something you need to remember when you do lesson planning. And also a lot of pre-activity preparation. What do you want them to write on? So you need to prepare papers, things like that, work out a way for them to work as a group, because maybe some classrooms has traditional sitting arrangements, and that will make it difficult to work
A
as
good
a
idea is also that the group can only have one pencil and one eraser, and every student needs a chance to write a word down. So that way, maybe they're not necessarily thinking or saying a word, but they have to write it down. So every kid in the group has a chance to write something down.
Yes, that would be a great idea. Oh, okay. So here's some sample lesson. The first one, listen, and I'm pretty sure you know this already. Listen and point, listen and write, and also you can draw a few boxes on the board and have somebody to, for example, put something in box 1, put something in box 5, etc. Now I'm going to get rid of this. Very slow. So suppose my vocabulary today are guavas, mangoes, papayas, apples, bananas, and pears. And I'm going to draw I'm going to draw 6 boxes and number them. And after a few repeating, and I will have kids to come to the board and say, oh, can you put the apples in box 6? You put the pears in box 2. So these are all very simple ways to get the message across, and it really doesn't require you much preparations. And also, it helps children, those low-level children, to get with the program as best as they can. And activity B, you can also help them to write something. After a few practice of this, so I'm going to give you some two pieces for each. Okay, now, children, each one of you has a piece of paper like this, right? Now I want you to draw a line on top of ear. Draw a line. Now I want you to write your name on top of the line. Now I want you to number from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now on number 1, you're going to write down your favorite fruit. Favorite fruit on top of here. Pick one of the favorite fruit you like.
Wait, from the list?
From the
Yeah,
list?
from the list.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now. Now suppose you are practicing sentence patterns, maybe you can use this kind of chant to help children to learn the language quickly. For example, like, what's your favorite fruit? What's your favorite fruit? And over here, you're going to say your favorite fruit twice. Like, my favorite fruit, apples. So I'm going to say apples, apples, I love apples. Okay? Alright. Now I'm going to show you the picture cards. I ask the questions, and you give me the answer. Okay? What's your favorite fruit?
Mangoes.
Mangoes.
I love
Mangoes.
mangoes.
What's your favorite fruit?
Guavas.
What's your favorite fruit?
Bananas.
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 Yeah. And then you continue this several times, and then maybe you can proceed to individual practice or as a group. And after a few times, you can have children to stand up and walk around and interview other kids. So I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite fruit?
Mangoes, I love mangoes.
Very good. Now can you ask the person behind?
What's your favorite fruit?
Mangoes, I love mangoes.
Now of course we want children to clap their hands while they're doing this, and it just makes them easier to remember the word. So I'm going to ask you to do this very silly thing again. Just stand up and walk around and try to finish the rest 4 answers. Try to collect 4 answers within 1 minute. Wait a minute. No, do I say stop? Ready? A minute, okay? Ready? No, I think 1 minute is way too long.
Sure.
Wait, so we want to collect.
Yeah, what do we
answers from
do?
other
I don't understand.
Yes.
So they used to go and
to
ask
ask
their friends
the-
what
You
their
got
favorite
already.
fruit.
Okay.
You got first answer.
Do you want us to put like their name in the fruit or just like the fruit?
Just a fruit.
What if we
Yeah.
keep getting mangoes, because everyone.
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
some then?
All of us.
So then
Oh,
we
so
will-
maybe
I
I
already
should
know
make
they
it
have, so I'm
clear.
just gonna write mangoes. Is there
Ah.
one?
Everyone's got
Everybody got mangoes already.
Yeah, me
Who
too.
doesn't love mangoes?
Are you mangoes too?
Do we all write
I
mangoes?
love mangoes.
We all
Oh,
have
come
mangoes.
on, don't make it
mangoes.
so
That's
hard.
Boring.
Ready, go.
What's
What's
your
your
favorite
favorite
fruit?
fruit?
Mangoes, I love mangoes. What's your favorite fruit?
Mangoes, I love
Mangoes.
What's your favorite fruit?
Mangoes, I love mangoes.
Oh,
What's your
yeah.
favorite fruit?
Mangoes,
What's your
mangoes,
favorite
I love
fruit?
mangoes.
Mangoes.
What's your
Up
favorite fruit?
Yay.
What's
there,
your favorite fruit?
up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Mangoes, mangoes, I love
Joke.
mangoes. What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, we're
Up
close
there?
to class too.
Mangoes,
What's your
mangoes, I love
favorite
mangoes.
Mangoes, I love mangoes.
What's your favorite fruit?
Mangoes,
Mangoes,
I love
what's your
mangoes.
Favorite
Mangoes,
Mangoes.
I love
Alright,
mangoes.
that's all.
What's your favorite
What do
fruit?
you do?
Mangoes,
The
mangoes, I love
Yahoo!
mangoes.
Yahoo!
Thank you. Okay. So the activity would involve a little bit listening, speaking, and as well as
Right.
writing, right? Okay. So everybody everybody loves mangoes.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Oh, okay. So you can try to ask them to write names as well next to the answer. And of course, it's always a good idea to